a special day in the neighborhood.
We're cutting down the testosterone today, people.
We have gone to the brains. Paul is off, Frank is off, Dora is here.
Hello, hello.
Barb is back for the first time in a long time.
Long time. It's good to be back.
All right, so who won the breakfast debate, the Rushforth team or the Napolitano team?
Well, it ended.
We took it up a notch today. Not only did the Rushforth team buy breakfast, we actually bought Barb's groceries.
It just kind of happened. Dora and I came in and we were going to be like, hey, we're the ladies. We don't need to buy breakfast. We ate at home. We're all mature, all of that stuff. But I needed bread.
Yeah. Hey, Do, can you get me a loaf of bread?
Which she did. She's a good friend.
There you go.
And you brought notes. I see you brought... So this is why I'm looking forward to the brains of this operation today. You both brought notes. This is incredible.
This is my grocery list.
Oh, that's
I'm not buying.
Yeah.
How was the week that was, Dora? First of all, would you like to be selling homes in Buffalo right now?
Oh my goodness, that snow, eh? Holy macaroni. And they moved the Bills game, I heard.
Yeah, they
moved it to Detroit, right?
Couldn't see the stadium.
Yeah, bananas. I really like the snow, so I was sort of hoping we'd get the tail end of it. Doesn't look like we're going to get too much of it. But the week is what it is, right? So inventory is up. The interest rates are in flux. We're not really sure what's happening with them. A lot of opportunity for buyers. We are seeing a bit of an uptick in buyers, people that have been sitting on the sidelines. They're sort of, getting more acclimatized to this new normal, and we are seeing
That
buyers.
surprises me. I thought it would be a little later than that.
It is, well, it surprises me, especially with the seasonality. So we are in the slowest market we've had in years, and added to that, we are at the slowest time of the year. So that, plays into it, but we are seeing a little bit, at least it feels like we're seeing buyers coming out and sort of taking the opportunity before the holiday season begins. And so it was a good week.
So where are we at for listings?
For listings, we are at 3,757 listings. Of that, 3,000 are residential, 710 condos. So well up from the numbers that we had at the beginning of this year.
Are we back to pretty much what this time of year would usually have for listings now?
I think we're
say if we go back 2-3 years ago.
I think we're still a little bit low, but very, very similar. I think if you take away the last 2 years, if you take away the craziness that happened that no one really could have expected, and I mean, my favorite T-shirt that I saw was, I really like some precedented times because we had all these unprecedented things happening, and so we're a little bit low in inventory, but we're so much higher than we were at the beginning of this year that we're at 3.3 months of inventory for residential, 3.1 for condos.
That's not bad.
It's not bad, and it gives buyers the power back, right? Buyers have had such a difficult time the last couple of years that right now they have the time, they have the luxury of time to look at homes. If there is something out there that you like, it's a great time to buy. The prices have softened, but that also means that your down payment amounts have softened, and everything else is a little bit different. So if you can stomach the interest rates as they are, and the predictions, I think, and I mean, I'm not the mortgage person, but I think the predictions are the latter part of 23, the beginning of 24, we're going to see a decrease in interest rates.
When are you going to fix that for us, Barb?
Yeah.
I'm going to fix that personally. We're thinking like second quarter 2023. We have seen some movement this week. We saw rates come down pretty much across the board. Kay, the one who looks after our rate matrix at work, she's had a busy couple of days. Things moving down 5-10 basis points.
On the 5-year?
On the 5-year, yep. So that's 5-year on the fixed side. Obviously, the variable is going to be told in December whether that's going to move another 25 basis points or not. But we have seen a drop. Now, having said that, since a month ago, the bond market has dropped about 60 basis points. And of course, that's not being passed on in its full yet.
Why not?
Why not?
What are they waiting for?
They're waiting to make their big bucks. So yeah.
If it went up 60 basis points.
Oh, you can bet.
Yeah.
You can bet that'd be
An immediate reaction the other way, right?
Yeah, for sure. So we're starting to see like 5-10 basis points isn't huge, but it's going in the right direction.
So can you get a 5-year fix just a little over 5? 5.4 now?
Yeah, 5.4, 5.5, depends. High ratio in there. The refinance is a little bit higher than that, 5.8, 5.9 type thing. So variable's still decent.
Still higher than the fixed, though, right?
Yep, still higher than the fixed.
And it will be until it starts to come down.
Until it starts to come down, and we think that'll be like mid, as Dora said, mid to fall next year, spring to fall type thing.
Wow. So what are you doing now if your mortgage is coming up? You're not going 5 years, are you?
Not too many 5-year fixed right now, and that's not a lot of the advice we're giving. We're more suggesting take the variable. You know, you've got if you're refinancing, you're prime minus 50. If you're renewing, you're prime minus 40 type thing. But you've got that option when rates do start to come down, you can lock in. And the neat thing about locking in is if you've had your variable for a year, you can lock into another 5-year fixed rate term if rates get to a point where they're more palatable than they are now.
And are people able to shop around for their mortgage when it comes up for renewal, or is the stress test just too high now?
No, people are definitely able to shop around for their mortgage. You're sort of touching on my did you know. So I kind of
Had I known that, I would have brought it up much earlier.
Yes, by all means. I mean, if your mortgage is coming up in the next 120 days, what I say is you've got to renew. You've either got to renew with the person you're with, or you've got to renew with another lender, and you might as well make some calls. Yeah. Because, we're not in the best rate environment. I always say it's a lot easier to talk mortgages when your rate's 2.39 than when it's 5.89, for sure, but you got to renew.
Well, from an affordability, from everything, right? So monthly payments, and I think people, when they're purchasing a home, think always in monthly payments, you know, how much, and regardless of rate, which I know the rates are very, very important, they're sort of the key, but it's about affordability, and with the price of everything else going up as quickly as it has, you know, people are starting to feel it. Like we are starting to get calls from people that are in these homes, and you know the monthly payments are just too high in order to.
Well, some people they're going up $600-800 a month.
That's right. And when your other costs have increased so much as well, that's really coming into play. And I think we're starting to feel that crunch, which will lead to what is an imminent recession, I believe, and then the rates will come down and it'll be cyclical.
Are most people re-amortizing again?
Well, that's what I was just going to say to Dora's comment there. You can re-amortize. It can be tricky. It depends on how you were set up initially, whether you were insured, whether you weren't insured, that kind of thing. But I myself have not seen a lot of that, but I know that it's out there.
I think you're going to see a lot more.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's not just, when you're talking about, I'm saying, hey, call and figure out whether there's better rates and that kind of thing. That pesky qualifying rate that you brought up, Steve, like that can make the difference whether you qualify for a transfer or not. Yeah. It can be tough.
Yeah, it gives the banks a big advantage right now, doesn't it?
7.84.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. It's just crazy.
Yeah, we don't need that anymore.
We don't need that.
No, seriously.
Yeah,
rates are at 5 and change. We don't need to qualify at 7.
We really
don't.
We
did say that when the rates were at 2, that were 1.8, that we don't need to qualify at 5, right? So.
And we didn't, because those people already have more.
That's right. That is true. That is true. 1 point, Steve.
It's the people that got a mortgage, say, 2.5 years ago.
That's right.
But hopefully by the time those mortgages come up, they'll be back down again. Rates will be back down.
I'm working one right now that's a port that they bought 2 years ago, and they blend and extended with TD. Well, they didn't extend, they just blended to term. And they're coming off 3.19, and we're taking a variable, but it's a tricky qualification because it's a 16-year amortization left, right? So now you've got to take your income and qualify, not for a 25 or a 30-year amortization, you got to qualify for a 16-year amortization, and it can be tricky.
Well, that can be really tricky.
Really tricky, and this is a good file.
So if you have 12 or, let's say 12, 15 years left on your mortgage, can you re-qualify at 20 or 25? Can you choose?
It becomes a refinance.
But can you choose the amortization? Like if you don't want to go the full 25, can you say, okay, well, let's just do 20?
Yeah, for sure.
So you do have options.
You do have options. And that's why I often say to people, what do you want to pay? Like, what's your budget? when you say we can't afford more than $800 biweekly, well, that drives your amortization, right? Amortization drives your payment. So you may not need a 30-year amortization and then pay accelerated biweekly, and you're knocking your years left to pay down more significantly.
Are you finding that people are making a lot of changes to their own personal budgets? Like, are they pulling back from other spending in order to make that work?
I find more people budgeting, period.
Okay.
That's what I find, is that people are like, okay, even I myself, I used to go to the grocery store and I would buy my groceries. And now I go to the grocery store.
Now you have Dora.
You're welcome.
Dora just saved me $6 on bread. Thank you very much. It'll be so good with my soup. It's going to taste so much better because it was
This is how you know the money person is at the table. Instead of budgeting, I just have Dora buy my groceries for me.
No, but when you come out of the grocery store and you've got one bag of groceries and it was $130, you're kind of going, okay, I'm not throwing any of that out if I don't eat it. I'm making sure I eat. So I find more people being more conscious. If they're budgeting, I might not know that, more budgeting other expenditures like gas, right? Gas and groceries.
People must be more aware of their money now than ever, though.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I would say so.
All right, hopefully we'll have some good news. Oh, you got a did you know?
You almost burst my bubble.
Wow, I haven't had a woman say that to me. 521-TALK, 521-8255. We'll be right back. Oh, you know what? I am going to bring Paul on just before you did you know for one reason.
Oh.
Paul, you're with us, right? Okay, because we're going to need the music for Barb's Did You Know?
Oh, stop.
All right, Barb, let's have it.
I was just calling in to welcome Barbie back to the radio. She's sounding great.
Oh, thanks, Paul. That's really sweet.
I thought it was just for the music, Paul. I thought you were just calling just for the music.
That's why. That's really why. And of course, I don't have to say Dora's great always.
Dora's always awesome. Yep.
Have a great show, everybody.
Thanks, Paul.
Bye.
Okay, bye, guys.
All right, Barb, your Did You Know?
Alrighty, so...
Hold on. Wow, chicka, wow.
Oh, now I've got both of them doing it. So we touched on it in the first segment, but with your upcoming renewals. So you've got a renewal, it's coming up in the next 120 days. Your bank's reaching out to you, trying to get you to early renew, even though we're seeing some downward pressure on rates. But you got to renew, and the rate environment isn't as favorable as the one you've been in. So there's that niche, and people actually do know this because I've talked about it before, but it is my favorite thing. It's that niche where you're less than 65%, and with house values increasing as they have over the past few years, you can bet that what you're renewing on your renewal balance can be less than 65% of the value of your home now, or if you were a previously insured mortgage. And the rates on those mortgages for a variable, we've got prime minus 90. For high ratio switch, we've got 5.09. And those are, if you're going into the variable and you're thinking that rates are going to come down, as we are, and we're starting to see some downward pressure, then it's worth making that call. We can switch you out.
And then you can still re-amortize at that time?
Reamortization is tricky. You're reamortizing to the remaining years on your mortgage. So if you're 5 years into your mortgage and you paid accelerated biweekly and you took a 25-year amortization, which you would have if you were high ratio, then you've got about 18 years left, 17 and a half, 18 years, and that's what we're reamortizing to. So that part can be tricky, but again, it's worth doing your due diligence.
And you wouldn't be further ahead trying to get a 25-year and then saving money on the side if you can, and when rates come down, just plop it down on the principal?
My feeling is the sooner you get the money against your principal, the less interest you pay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my overall feeling about it.
I think it is a personal choice, but I'm with you on that. I think it's a generational thing too, right?
Well, I think too, people like to have the idea of having some savings in the bank just because we are in such volatile times. It's kind of nice to not be, whereas before rates went up and prime went up and all of that good stuff, you might not have been living pay to pay, but now you might be living pay to pay, and it's nice to just have, a couple $1,000 tucked aside. Your car needs snow tires. You end up having to take a trip somewhere and
you have to buy your own bread.
You have to buy.
Are we going to see a crunch over the next 2 years, do you think? Like two years from now where people are just renewing and going, oh man, I just can't
I think so. I think with credit card debt increasing, I think people are going to be renewing, re-amortizing, pulling out some of that equity to help with everyday expenses, because it's sort of, if you are purchasing homes that need maintenance, that need work, it's that, where are you going to get that capital? Where are you going to get those funds? And so you take out loans, you do little things, and they compound. And I think that we will see that.
Yeah, because those mortgages come up for renewal 2-3 years from now.
That's right.
Depending on what they are by then, we could end up in a position where there's going to be a lot of listings.
There could be a lot of listings, and I think we will see more listings on the market January, February, and that's typical. We're sort of back to a typical historical market where November, December, the number of listings declines, and then we see an increase January, Feb, which for us as realtors, January, February, that's our spring market, because if you think right now the average days on market is about 45. For easy math's sake, if you put your house up for sale Feb 1, 45 days, you're mid-March. Average closing is about 90 days. That puts you to mid-June. And that's if you fall within the averages. And so really that's when things start to accelerate, and we do see a lot of inventory come up.
So how do you pick that fine line? Because if there's going to be more people listing their homes Jan, Feb, and you want to get the most for your money, do you list it now? Do you wait until then?
It's a very, very personal decision. As we're coming into the last couple of weeks of November and the holiday seasons are starting, so a lot of celebratory times. There's a lot of entertaining that happens. There's a lot of, people coming home. Their kids are coming home from school, from whatever, and houses tend to have a lot of treasures or clutter, right? So they don't show their best, and a lot of people don't want that disruption. I think we've in the last couple of years, if anything, I think as a society, we've changed, and we've really come to enjoy just good times. And so the stress of having your house up for sale for some sellers during this period where there's a lot of chaos in the house is just not worth it. So I think it just depends. If you put your house up now, there is a window, and there are a lot of buyers looking. There is a lot of opportunity. So if you have a vacant home, sure. If your house is an investment property and you have tenants living in it, maybe not the best time. Wait until the new year. If you're in a situation where you have to sell, and that's the challenge, is whether you are, everybody's life is different. So whether there's a death, there's a birth, there's a two families getting together, it all depends.
And if you are listing now, are you putting up decorations or not?
Is your house up for sale?
That's what I'm saying. If you're listing now.
Oh, if you're listing. I thought you said listening.
That's what I thought he said too. Could you enunciate more clearly, please?
I'm new at this.
Missed you. Didn't hear what you said. So if you are listed now, tasteful, maybe edited, I would wait a little bit.
But would you do lights outside and nothing inside, or just a little bit of
just a little bit to make it feel a little bit cozy? Because even if you're decorating for Christmas, even if someone doesn't celebrate Christmas and they're coming into your home, it does give that warm and cozy feel. And that's what we're ultimately getting our sellers to do, is to create a warm environment where when somebody walks in, they can envision their life and their memories and everything there. So the more you can do as a seller to attract the buyers to come in, the better it is for you. And
fireplaces and stairwells, right? Fireplaces
yes,
and stair
like
railings.
a banister, and
banister,
just
that's it.
I think a little bit. Maybe give it a week, but I don't think. So some decorations, maybe not, but really, right now, with buyers having as much choice as they do, the condition of your home is so important. For the last couple of years, whether you still had carpet in your ensuite or didn't, it didn't really matter for buyers, because the market was driven by the lack of inventory.
People had carpet in their ensuite?
Oh, they still do. They still do. And so that's the challenge right now, is that But, you can look at what homes sold for, and you can look at, your house for sale. And in the real estate market, when we, describe a home as meticulously maintained and lovingly upgraded, those are really important right now, because if you've lived in your home for the last 20 years and you've invested and you've put on a new roof and you've done the windows and you've done all these things, for buyers, they're sort of thinking there's no capital investment or no large investment that I have to make. I get to move in here and this is new and this is new. And the newness not only allows people to not have to spend money, it gives them time. And that's what people are looking for. We don't know who's going to buy your house, but millennials are the largest cohort, and they just want time and experiences, and they don't want to do work. And move in ready, but really, I mean, I can't resist, but I'm going to say, Steve, this might be news for you, but there is the internet and social media. And so all of these houses with this bling and beautifulness on HGTV, that's what people are envisioning when they're looking for homes. And so, of course, the homes that are updated and shine are going to sell disproportionately higher than the ones that need the work, because it's time, it's money, it's looking for scarcity of materials and resources, and trades. Trades are very, very difficult to book.
I think in this market, too, if you've got a good agent, the good agent is saying, your home is dated, and this is how we're going to price it as a result of that. And you might not like the price, but realistic, and you may have maintained it meticulously and lived there for 20 years, but it's dated. And that is reflective in the price.
To bring it to the average buyer's current taste, it sometimes takes some money, and that is updating, right?
I still can't get past carpet in the ensuite.
It's true.
Please tell me there's only women living in those homes. 521-DOC, 521-8255. We'll be right back.
Open House, the Real Estate and Mortgage Show on News Talk 580.
To the phones we go. Say hello to Connor. Connor, you're lucky today because we got two brains in the house. Aren't they? Aren't they?
Thank you, Connor.
Thanks, Connor.
Thank you. I'd say we have 2.5 brains.
Don't be so hard on yourself, Barb.
It's just a scenario that I wanted to ask about. It's actually for my friend. So they are upgrading their house. They have a CMHC insured mortgage, and so they want to port and then add to it, which I believe is called blend and extend. But my question is, if you blend and extend a CMHC insured mortgage, I understand you have to stick with the original amortization. You were just talking about that. But does the new money need to be CMHC insured if the total loan to value is 80%?
Isn't it once insured, always insured, Barb?
Once insured, always insured, yeah.
So they will have to buy CMHC insurance.
No, they already have it.
Yeah, they already have it from their first mortgage.
Yes, that's insured, but like if, for instance, when I did a port and then extend, I had to pay CMHC a second time.
Yes, you do have to pay CMHC if it's CMHC insured the second time, but you're saying your friend is
Are
not...
you paying on the difference only then, Barb?
On the difference only, yeah.
Yeah, so on the difference this time, when I did it, I was high ratio again, that's why I think...
Yeah.
But if the current mortgage is CMHC insured, but the loan to value, when they buy the new place, they only need to go up to like 70%.
You don't need CMHC insurance again then, because you're not high ratio.
Even though they're porting an existing insured mortgage. That's where I got caught up. I didn't know the answer.
No, it would still be a new mortgage with greater than 20% down.
Okay, so they don't have to worry about paying that premium, but they will have to keep their original amortization though.
They'll have to keep their original amortization. It depends how they do it. I mean, if they're going to blend and increase, then yes. But if they're going to do a whole new mortgage, which they probably won't because they've got a great low rate, yeah, they want to port. Yeah, of course.
And lose the now, which they don't want to lose, right?
Yeah, of course.
It's easy to break. So maybe to ask it another way, what's the best way to get the lowest rate and hopefully not have to pay CMHC?
Well, it depends on what lender you're with as well. Some lenders will split that mortgage, more the banks so than the non-bank lenders, where you can just add another piece to it. You can keep your first piece exactly as it looks and then just add another piece to it.
What would you do, Barb?
Well, if that's the kind of mortgage I could do, that's what I'd do. I'd put the new money at the higher rate in a separate piece. And then you've got two payments and everything, like they behave the same, only different.
But then they would come due the same time?
You try and structure them so they do come due at the same time, but then inevitably in your future to put them together is a refinance type thing, depending on the lender.
Yeah, but you're trying to get them almost the same
almost
date,
the same.
right? Otherwise, you lose any bargaining power you
Exactly,
have, right?
exactly.
See, I thought of maybe doing a secured credit line, like instead of a second mortgage. But the trouble is this lender, it's a company called Lendwise. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of them.
Yeah.
So I don't know if
They don't have a line of credit, to the best of my knowledge.
yeah, and I don't know if the banks, like, from my experience, banks are they won't go in second position behind a company like Lendwise.
No, that's very true. That is true. We see that.
Yeah, and I don't know if other lenders or similar to Lendwise would go in second position behind them. So.
Well, you're subject to lenders that just offer a line of credit, and typically the non-bank lenders, which is what Lendwise is, if they did offer lines of credit, they don't. But the ones that do will typically only do a line of credit behind their own first.
Sounds like blend and extend's the best way to go.
Yeah,
right?
it sounds like blend and extend is the best way to go.
All right, Connor?
Sounds good.
All right, thank you. And enjoy the rest of the show. I am.
Thanks, Connor.
Bye, Connor.
Don't forget to text Paul. Hey, how are people able to afford a mortgage these days when rents in Ottawa for a one-bedroom are about $1,959?
Oh my gosh.
That's
Isn't that crazy?
For a
It's crazy.
one-bedroom.
It's crazy.
That's crazy.
Now, better than Vancouver at $2,500, but still.
Yeah, it's crazy.
How are you saving money? How are people saving money now? You're in a one-bedroom paying almost $2,000 a month.
Well, I mean, how are you saving money for a home? Like, I think
That's what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a lot of the story with the first-time buyers, right? They're trying to save money to get into the market, and not only is the market difficult to get into, but saving money when you're paying rent like that. I do see some first-time buyers, though, that I'm really proud of. They stay at home,
Yes.
and they save significant chunks of money.
Yep,
and it's like, good for you guys.
I'm seeing that. I'm seeing even young people sell townhomes that they've purchased or move out of their rentals to move in with mom and dad to save for a couple of years and then go out and buy, hopefully in a couple of years. So
And I think we're going to see more and more.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
too.
But it's common in other parts of the world, right? Where it hasn't been common here. And the hope in Canada is that everyone can afford home ownership. That's what we want. That's what drives our economy. That's what our retirement is. Like, it's just really important for us as Canadians. But I think that, with the rents being as high as they are, but there are a lot of people who are renting that are in at much, much lower rates, right? And they're not going anywhere because
they're going to stay renting.
They're going to stay renting.
because they're protected with lower rates.
That's right. And
or lower
roommates too. Roommates. People are getting two-bedroom homes because a two-bedroom home is for rent, about $2,500, and divided by two is a lot less than the $1,900 for one individual. But I think a lot of people moving in with mom and dad.
It sort of brings me to another. Do we have to go to the phones?
No, go ahead.
So,
We don't have to do anything.
it brings me to something else I wanted to bring up on the show that I've seen a few times lately in the last month or two is clients coming to me saying, I want to buy a new home, but I don't want to sell my home. I want to keep it as a rental because the market's not great to sell right now, or that's the feeling that's out there anyway. You're not getting the $200,000 over asking that you were getting a year ago. And how difficult that is.
That's tough, though, isn't it?
It's a tough go. With qualifying rates the way they are, I mean, if you've got a $500,000 mortgage on your existing property that you want to keep as a rental, and remember, we don't do rentals one for one. Like, yeah, your mortgage payment's $1,500 and you're going to rent for $2,300. We don't get to use the $2,300 back into your income. There's formulas and different banks handle it different ways. And then you want to qualify to purchase for $1 million. Well, depending on what you earn, we say just loose rule of thumb, and with qualifying rates the way they are, depending on the debts that you have, you can afford up to 4 times your income in the form of a mortgage. Well, if you're making $100,000, that's a $400,000 mortgage, and you've already got one for $500,000 that we're using a bit of rental income on, and it's tough to make that qualification. I've had a few scenarios like that.
For people who are in that position and who are thinking that it's not a good time to sell because they're not getting the same amount that their neighbor did 6 months ago, you know, the really, really important thing to focus on is that the equity gains that they have had in the last couple of years far outweigh that. So focus.
You want to compare yourself to your neighbor, compare 3 years ago.
That's right. So focus on what the average home sale was in early 2019 versus early 2022, and you're winning. Like, you really are. So focus on that equity and not the loss, the perceived loss in the last 6 months. I mean, buyers are out there. There's still a high demand. There really still is a high demand, and I think it's a good time to put it up.
All right, let's go back to the phone. Say hello to Patrick in Ottawa. Hello, Patrick.
Hey, Patrick.
Hi, Patrick.
Oh, we're great.
Good. I've got a question about your buddies down at Canada Revenue Agency.
My
Must be
buddies?
talking to you guys.
I bought a house, and I renovated my old house for about $65,000, and I rented it out. A month ago, the revenue agency saying that I'm a builder owner, and I should have paid HST on my old house. Should I get a lawyer?
How long were you living in the old house?
20 years.
And did you get it appraised just before you rented it out?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's key
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, if you had it appraised and then had it appraised now after the renovations.
And if it was your primary residence?
Yeah, I'm.
Yeah,
Barb?
I can't see
Steve?
you having to pay anything when you sell that house.
No, I mean, now they're saying because I rented it out, I became an owner builder after the renovation. I renovated the kitchen, bathroom, did some insulation.
Did you do that after you had rented it out?
No, before.
So you were still an owner-occupier.
Yeah, owner-occupier. Then you did the renovations, decided to put it up for rent, and then so it would just be capital gains on the difference between the two appraisals.
Well, I bought a new house.
Yeah, it would only be capital gains when he goes to sell this one, though.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, you should be all right, Patrick.
They're asking for HST on the original house, the value.
Yeah, I'd speak to a lawyer.
Yeah, I'd speak to a lawyer too.
Yeah.
You don't know any good lawyers?
Divorce lawyers.
Hopefully that's not what you're looking for.
No.
Give Dora a call after the
Yeah.
show.
Give us a call after the show. We can put you in touch with.
What's your number, Dora?
The office is 613-788-2122. Or Dora@paulrushforth.com.
Dora.
Good luck, Patrick.
Good luck,
Thanks, Patrick. Bye-bye.
Hopefully we save him a little bit of money, but
Yeah, my goodness, that's unusual.
Well, I think that when he was saying owner-builder, like builders charge the HST, right? But he's not a builder.
No.
He just did renos.
he's a renter.
Yeah.
He's a renovator.
A renovator.
521-TALK, 521-8255. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. Dora in for Paul. Barb is here for Frank. And nobody could replace me.
Never.
Never.
Never. 1 in a million.
One show, and how many years have you guys been on?
I don't know. Frank knows all that.
Yeah.
Long time.
Oh, yeah.
All that.
He
God,
does.
Frankie, we're missing you.
It's more than 3 years, I know that for sure.
Well, 3 years on Zoom.
It seemed like
Yeah.
it, yeah.
Well, 2.5.
Yeah, I guess, eh?
Yeah.
Yep.
I guess. I look much better on Zoom.
We all do.
Dora, are you seeing any first-time homebuyers these days?
We are seeing first-time home buyers. We're trying to encourage people to not be afraid of the unknown. I actually had a first-time home buyer purchase this week. So we are seeing them. We are seeing fewer of them, and we are seeing fewer investors, both local from Ottawa and from Toronto. In the last couple of years, we had a lot of people coming in.
Because of cash flow?
Yeah, because of cash flow. First-time home buyers, I think right now, like I said, there are 3 months of inventory. You have the luxury of time. And I'm really, really cautiously optimistic that we're back in a market where you can put conditions in, you can get building inspections, you can really do your own due diligence on a property.
So much more peace of mind.
It's so much more peace of mind. And so there was this whole group of people who at the beginning of, COVID, when the prices started going up and the inventory was so scarce and people were competing for homes, they thought, okay, well, I'm going to stay and wait. And those people now have the ability to get in. So I think we will see more people come the new year. It's always a little slower, November, December, but I think the first-time home buyers, they're going to come.
But are we going to have a crunch come January where everybody all of a sudden is going to jump in altogether? Like, do you see the next month and a half being relatively slow, and then all of a sudden, all right, we're hitting another home run again?
Not a home run, more like a trickle. But I do believe that we're going to see people will sort of. People have to move and people have to buy. And if you've taken so many years to save for a down payment, do it. Like, just do it. Take the variable rate. Call Barb, call Frank. Do what you need to do to get into the market. But the sooner you get into the market, the more, the sooner you're paying yourself equity versus paying somebody else's mortgage. I think it's a really great idea for first-time buyers.
First call should be to you guys, eh, Barb?
Yeah, for
Absolutely.
sure. Get your numbers in line. Once your numbers are in line, you've got that peace of mind for knowing what you can shop for. And we'll talk about that fixed rate versus variable rate. Like, if we're taking you to your max affordability ratios, the variable may not be the way to go for you. You may want the comfort of a fixed payment, even though the rate's a little higher. And I mean, of course, insured, the rate's a little lower, but it's peace of mind.
It is, and so go to the experts for that, and then work with someone that has the experience and the knowledge that's been through a market like this, that can give you the information, give you the data, and disseminate all of the information. And then you, as a consumer, as a buyer, it's up to you to make an informed decision as to what you want to do. And oftentimes, when people are presented with the options, with the difference in pricing, with affordability now versus 6 months from now, when we expect the house prices still to increase a little bit, like, yes, we're down from 6 months ago, but we're up over the year. So we still anticipate that, yes, it'll be quite flat, but quite flat still means 2-3% growth, and that's a lot.
And it's 2-3% on top of that huge growth that we had.
That's right.
That's normal.
That's right.
That's normal.
That's right. So just work with the professionals that can help you and give you the information that you need to make a good decision for your own situation.
So I read a stat that you need in Ottawa now about $128 grand and 20% down to get into an average priced home. Is that about right?
Well,
120.
maybe closer to 140, because the average price is still hovering around 700,
Yeah.
680 or so. So yeah, 128, 140, same thing, I guess.
With your 20% down.
Yeah,
But
that's a lot of money.
Order for a first-time
That's a
buyer,
lot of
especially
money.
back to that rental conversation, right? When you're paying $1,900 to $2,400 a month in rent, how are you saving that money?
Yeah.
So how much should people be saving now with the hope of buying a home at some point, like whether it's a condo, just to get into the market?
All you can.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
and
if
take away from other things, right? Because you like, purchasing a home is a long-term play. It's not a 2-year plan. It's a 20-year plan. So maybe
Used to be a 2-year plan.
Yeah, it used to be. You buy,
that's true.
sell,
Yeah.
buy, sell, buy,
Yeah.
sell. And a lot of people came out on top, but a lot of people at the tail end of this have really, really suffered because they were contractually obligated to close on their next home. They were in a very drastic market selling than they were buying. And so the delta between what they listed for and what they thought they were getting and what they ended up selling for was quite different. And so it's volatile times, but a really, really, it's leveling out.
Think about it. It used to be, if you were looking at a home for $300,000, which would have been a condo, you need 5% to get in, and there's no shame in 5%. If you're saving 5%, good for you. It's
5% these days.
5% is a
It's going to get you
lot,
in the
right?
market, and that's it. And then you put your closing costs in, which we estimate to be 1.5%, so another $4,500. You're into a $300,000 home for $20K, and that at that time like back a couple of years ago, was a condo.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Now that's a tough nut to crack, that one for sure. Like, what are you getting for $300,000? Outskirts, if even.
Yeah, I think you might have better luck getting an apartment
Apartment condo. Yeah.
versus the outskirt, because the outskirts, if they are listed at that price point, which I think is very, very difficult to find, they'll likely need a bit of maintenance. And
That's what I was gonna say.
if you've been saving and you have that 5% down, it might be hard for you to then have more savings to do
especially
the
big
repairs.
stuff, yeah.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of unknowns, right? In a condo, yes, you're paying the condo fees, but you have fixed costs, so you can budget and you can save and move up.
So then tack those numbers on to 500,000.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And
That's right.
That's a
Well,
chunk to save. And for anybody
however-
who's doing it, congratulations.
Absolutely, absolutely. However, if we look at the different pockets of the city, if we look at Orleans, we look at Barhaven, Canada, there are between 75 and 97 townhomes for sale in each one of those pockets. So there is a lot of opportunity, and the prices are softening. So first-time home buyers, it's your time.
Good
Birthdays, Barb?
opportunity. I took these from Frank's calendar, so if you did them last week, my apologies. But Leo Maiorino turned 60 last week, and Erin McDonnell had her birthday. So happy birthday to you too.
I missed Frank's birthday, so happy birthday to you, Frank.
Oh yeah, we had a party for Frank at the office. It was awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you want his body and you
I
think
think he's 60.
Hey, I just want to mention Big Sky Ranch in Kempville looking for volunteers.
Okay,
They're an
Okay.
animal sanctuary, so
that's
if you
where
like,
Willie's from.
that's where Willie's from. So if you like working with animals and you want to help them out for the winter especially, they can use your help. Just send an email to Big Sky Ranch at explorenet.ca.
I wonder, is there a lot of adopting going on again? Like through COVID, apparently you couldn't get an animal.
Well, you just had to know where to look.
Okay, I take it back.
Dora, how do we get a hold of you?
Dora at paulrushforth.com.
Barb,
Barb K at mortgagebrokersottawa.com.
have a great week. It was
Bye,
great having you here.
everybody.
Bye, everybody. No, seriously.